Rome, Egypt, China. These are the empires everyone remembers. But what if I told you entire civilizations once ruled vital trade routes, mined riches that reshaped economies, and built monuments that still stand, yet they've almost vanished from history class? Today, we'll uncover 6 forgotten empires that changed the world and reveal the secrets no textbook ever taught you. I'm your guide, and this is Timelens. Together we'll sail across oceans, climb mountain fortresses, and walk the ruins of kingdoms erased by time or by those who wrote history. Each empire has a story, how it rose, how it fell, and one shocking detail most people never hear. One. Srivijaya, the Masters of the Sea. 7 centuries ago, in the islands of Indonesia, a little-known kingdom ruled the most important shipping lane on Earth, the Strait of Malacca. This was Srivijaya. Unlike Rome or China, Srivijaya didn't need vast armies of land soldiers. Their power was naval, commercial, and spiritual. They ran their empire like a network of ports, charging tolls, protecting trade, and sponsoring great Buddhist monasteries where Chinese pilgrims studied before continuing to India. But here's a detail you almost never hear. Srivijaya's influence wasn't just on the coast. Inscriptions show they controlled river trade deep inland, regulating the flow of forest products, ivory, and spices from the jungles to the harbors. Think of it as the first globalized customs office. For 500 years, Srivijaya was the beating heart of Southeast Asian trade. Yet when rivals rose in Java and new sea routes opened, the network unraveled. By the 14th century, this maritime giant had faded, almost invisible on our maps today. 2. Aksum, coins, crosses, and global trade. Across the Red Sea, another forgotten power thrived, the kingdom of Aksum in today's Ethiopia and Eritrea. Around the 4th century, Aksum stood as one of the great powers of the ancient world, alongside Rome, Persia, and China. Their strength came from controlling the port of Adulis, a hub where Roman wine, Indian spices, and African ivory changed hands. And Aksum left behind something rare for Africa at that time: coins. Gold and silver coins stamped with royal portraits, first showing pagan symbols and later the Christian cross. These coins reveal exactly when King Ezana converted Aksum to Christianity, making it one of the first Christian empires in history. But here's the part left out of most classrooms. Aksum's famous stone stelae, giant carved monoliths, weren't random monuments. They were statements of political order, mapping elite lineages and sacred landscapes. They were a skyline of power, like skyscrapers in New York today. Aksum thrived until shifting trade routes and climate change cut its lifelines. Yet traces of its language, its churches, and its traditions still echo in modern Ethiopia. 3. Great Zimbabwe, the city of stone and gold. Deep in southern Africa, a vast stone city rose between the 11th and 15th centuries, Great Zimbabwe. With towering granite walls built without mortar, some as high as 11 meters, it was unlike anything else on the continent. But the real story is trade. Archaeologists uncovered glass beads from India, porcelain from China, and coins from Arabia, proof this city was plugged directly into the Indian Ocean trade system. Gold and ivory moved out, luxury goods flowed in. And here's the uncomfortable truth many older histories ignored. Early European colonists refused to believe Africans built Great Zimbabwe. They invented myths of lost white builders or foreign civilizations. Only in the 20th century was the truth restored. Great Zimbabwe was African-built, African-ruled, and African-connected, proof of a sophisticated political and economic system. This isn't just a forgotten empire, it's a stolen legacy, only now being reclaimed. 4. Muisca Confederation, the reality of El Dorado. In the highlands of Colombia lived the Muisca Confederation, whose rituals sparked one of history's greatest myths, El Dorado, the city of gold. Spanish explorers heard of a king who, during ceremonies, covered himself in gold dust and bathed in Lake Guatavita. The story fueled centuries of deadly quests. But here's the deeper truth. For the Muisca, gold wasn't money. It was sacred, used in offerings called tunjos, small figures cast and given to the gods. Their real wealth came from something far less flashy: salt. The Muisca controlled vast salt mines and trade routes, giving them economic power across the Andes. Salt, emeralds, and fine textiles were the lifeblood of their confederation. So while Europe obsessed over El Dorado, the Muisca quietly ran one of the Andes' most advanced economies until Spanish conquest shattered their world. Five. Chachapoya, the warriors of the clouds. High in Peru's misty cloud forests, the Chachapoya built fortress cities like Quelap, with massive walls rivaling Inca architecture. They were called the warriors of the clouds, known for fierce independence. Unlike their Inca neighbors, the Chachapoya built circular stone houses and left behind eerie cliffside sarcophagi, mummies staring out over valleys. Here's a recent revelation. Modern LiDAR scans and new digs have uncovered hundreds of hidden Chachapoya structures across the Andes. This wasn't a scattered tribe. It was a complex society, urban and ritualistic, still being rediscovered beneath the jungle canopy. When the Incas finally conquered them, many Chachapoya allied with Spanish invaders, hoping to break free. Their gamble failed, and their culture was nearly erased. But the stones of Quelap still whisper their defiance. Six. Tuʻi Tonga, the Oceanic Empire. Now we sail into the Pacific. Long before European explorers crossed its waters, the Tuʻi Tonga Empire stretched its influence across Polynesia. Centered in Tonga, the Tuʻi Tonga kings claimed both sacred and political authority. Their voyaging canoes connected islands thousands of kilometers apart, Samoa, Fiji, and beyond. Through tribute, marriage alliances, and ritual exchange, they created a maritime sphere of influence unlike anything in Europe or Asia. Here's the part history often misses. This wasn't empire by conquest. It was empire by network, sustained through sacred kingship, gifts, and shared belief. The tombs of the Tuʻi Tonga rulers at Mua still stand, silent markers of a Pacific world system that rivaled those of the Old World. When European ships arrived centuries later, the Pacific was not an empty ocean. It was a political landscape already shaped by the Tuʻi Tonga. So what did these six empires have in common? They thrived not by ruling endless land, but by controlling movement, of goods, of people, of ideas. They legitimized themselves with rituals, coins, or sacred kingship. And most importantly, they were forgotten, not because they were small, but because history was written from someone else's point of view. The story of humanity isn't just Rome and China. It's also Srivijaya, Aksum, Zimbabwe, Muisca, Chachapoya, and Tonga. Forgotten empires, but not lost. If you'd like me to dive deeper into one of these, maybe a full episode just on Srivijaya or Great Zimbabwe, let me know in the comments. Vote in the poll, and I'll make it happen. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join me next time as we uncover more hidden chapters of our world's history.
This has been Timelens. If history leaves you with more questions than answers, subscribe, because the past is never really past.